Welcome to Washington Football Week with your host, one half of that dynamic duo,
Let's go.
Sean Spencer, and South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer.
Don't play us if you're undefeated.
Where we celebrate past success while looking to a bright future. There's a youth movement in Washington, and they're ready to take the reins, led by a fire force. It's a new day, new dawn, no longer the laughing stock. It's time to take command.
Yeah, buddy. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And it's Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Hump Day! And you see who I'm with? My guy. Still here. Yeah, we're still here.
We're back.
The guy in South Carolina's finest. Will Kramer! What up, Will?
Oh man, good to be back. We missed last week. Work was, we're starting to get to the time where I'm traveling here and there. But we're back because we don't go away when a loss happens.
Come on now.
We don't shy away from talking about what we need to talk about, even if you get your butt.
Absolutely. Yeah, we don't hide. All right.
No.
And at the end of the day, they are the Bills. All right. It's not like we lost to the Cardinals.
Right. That would be that. We might not be going tonight if we lost to the Cardinals.
No. How could you show
Tail
your face
between our legs?
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'd be so embarrassed to wear my stuff.
Let's go. Will Kramer, we're here. Yes, we are coming up to week 4. We know we got to play Philly. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest coming on here a little bit later. A nice Eagles fan.
Yeah,
Stay tuned.
They exist.
Right? So definitely stay tuned. We're going to get into that. But hey, we're here. And like Will alluded to, we're going to talk about this game because on the surface, the score looked ugly, atrocious, or the way you could look at it. But on the flip side, I mean, there was some. You had to search through it. You had to comb through, but there were some positives.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Man, I said I'm going to the game. Let me check and see who this is.
Who said that?
Is that
Cameron?
Hey.
Game.
Oh wow, going to the Washington versus Philly. We'll definitely pray.
He's going to the game in Philly, dude.
Don't wear any burgundy, bro.
Yeah, you got.
Don't wear any burgundy. I wouldn't even do that. I'm telling you that right now. But look, hey, let's get into it. 37-3. Will. And so I was out of town. You know that. I was in Chicago celebrating my birthday. I did not get to see the game initially, thankfully, maybe.
Right.
But when I was updating the score while I was at the Cubs game, I was sitting there fuming. Just first that I couldn't even see it, and then you're just like 16-0, 30-0, 37. What is going on? Like I honestly what? What? What can you say? What can you say? Will, I mean, did you watch it, or were you able to turn it off? I know we were texting a little bit.
This was the Sunday to be away from your TV, Sean.
Yes, absolutely.
I was thrilled that I had to go to one of my kids' birthday parties for the second half of the game.
Yeah.
And I watched the opening drive of the second half. They're moving the ball, and I'm sitting there going, all right, the baby just woke up. Maybe I can play this off a little bit. Maybe, he's kind of fussing. Maybe we won't go. And then Sam Howell throws an interception in the end zone. I said, let's go.
Time to go. Hurry it up.
Yep, we're going.
I love it. Yeah, no, it was one of those things. And it was so funny because I'm in Chicago. Obviously, I don't see the game. Then I see the score afterwards. And I'm already mad because I wasn't trying to go to the Cubs game. And as you know, with Twins, certain plans get kind of catered to certain people. So I'm going along with this. So I'm just not in a good mood at this particular point, although we're celebrating my birthday. So it's kind of split.
Yes.
But in Chicago, walking down the street, I see a guy decked out in Buffalo's Bills gear. Now I had some Washington on because the game was on. And so I walk and I just tuck my head and I just start shaking my hand. And he kind of chuckles. He's like, sorry, man. Sorry. But yeah. And he's like, yo, you from here? You live here? And I was like, nah, man. I live near DC. I came out here and I was so excited for this game. It's my birthday weekend. My guy patted me on the shoulder. He said, well, at least you got 3 points. And I just walked away. And I was like, what can I say?
Yeah, you can't.
You're absolutely right. Oh, God. But Will, I mean, I think even more than that was when you started to hear the stats. And I had people telling me Sam Howell threw 4 interceptions. Sam Howell, had 9 sacks. He's holding on to the ball too long. But the biggest thing that somebody said to me was Brian Robinson had 10 carries and he had 70 yards. And then going back and looking at the game, we were not out of any of this game. Like these drives, we were driving down the field when we ran the ball. But then all of a sudden you get to 3rd and 2 and we need to be in a 4 wide receiver shotgun spread formation. What is going on with that, Will?
Well, I'm glad you bring that up because if you think back to the last couple of years, I'm the one who was always defending Scott Turner and his play calling.
Yep.
And I get yelled at a lot by people for that the last couple of years.
I yelled at you.
You were one of the kinder ones, though. I'll give you that. But yeah, and yet that's a situation where like we're getting our butt whooped in the game. It's 16-0, but it was also like, well, we're also moving the ball. We're making some bad decisions or bad plays are happening while getting into field goal range or scoring range. But it's like, okay, we got a chance. And then so I think the game plan was questionable.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. There were some things that were working, especially the fact that it was raining during this game. Now, that didn't stop Buffalo from slinging it all over the place, but Buffalo's a little bit of a more established offense than us. Right. They've got some continuity there. Ken Dorsey took over, so he's in his 2nd year, after Dable left. And so there's, so it's the system has stayed the same that they're familiar with, where ours is new, but we had things that were working that we weren't going back to the well for, And so I definitely think it's, you got to look at Bieniemy and go, what happened here? It's raining. You're running the ball well. You brought up Alex Arma. I thought it was going to be heavy dose of Brian Robinson all game long. Nothing.
And that's what gets me. And then again, like I said, you go back, you watch the game. I watched it again, and then I'm like, this defense is holding their own. You look at that first half. Our defense held them to 3 field goals when they were driving. Our defense would bend but not break and kept us in that game to the point where it was 16-0. And then, like you said, we're coming out the half and we are throwing interceptions. But even still, Fuller then gets to pick. We force him to a 3rd and 20. Fuller gets to pick. And we're like, okay, great. And then we drive down the field, we run the ball, and then we give it right back to them. And then you're sitting here and you're like, defense. It's like I told you before. It's like a dam, and you keep pouring water in. You keep pouring water in, and you see little sprinkles of it spouting out. You see a little leak, but it's not official. It's not broken. It's not busted. But it's a matter of time before the whole thing busts. And that's eventually what ended up happening. Our Achilles heel came. We since the offseason, since last year, since as far back as I remember. We cannot seem to corral mobile quarterbacks, which stinks because of who we're playing in this coming week in the daggone Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. So, Will, I want to give our defense all the credit and all the love. But at the same time, we can't put him in those situations. And I think that is on EB and Sam, but very much on EB in that play calling.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, it's very concerning that we still continue to have problems with mobile quarterbacks.
Yep.
Our pass rush, our great front four, didn't really have an impactful game at all. Didn't really put much pressure on Josh Allen at all, and it was only, they were able to rush with their four and get pressure on us. Why can't we, with our four, make some plays? Now I will we're kind of giving some praises here to Ron Payne for what little plays were made out there. They were being made by him.
Yes, sir.
He knocks down passes. He puts some pressure on them, and he continues to give us fighting chances, which he's been worth every penny that they signed him for. But you're right. It's frustrating because the defense is putting us in places to stay in the game. And in this game against Buffalo, I really felt it was like missed opportunities,
right.
And it's similar to what we found last year where we've got potential. What happens is we have a mistake happen.
Yep.
And the mistake can be made by several people at a time. It's not the same person, whether that's a player, whether it's the quarterback, whether it's, the running back, did they make a good block or not, or whether it's one of our offensive linemen not making their block on a particular assignment. So it's kind of, you can spread that out, but we have mistakes happen that take us out of scoring opportunities.
Yep.
And it's frustrating. That's tough to be a part of.
No, it is. It absolutely is. And and we're going to get into my guy, Sam. We're going to get into some of the things that he definitely has work on because, hey, we've said it. He's a rookie. We understand. We'll touch on that. But I do want to touch a little bit on the secondary and just the fact that our front four you spoke about, we know that's the heartbeat of the team. I got to shout out our linebackers, man. Cody Barton had 13 tackles, 7 solo, and then you had Jamin Davis who had 11 tackles. We've been on them a lot for, needed to step up and needed to play. Yeah, I mean, they struggled. We know. I mean, once Josh Allen got in that secondary, he was running all over us, but they were still all the way around the field trying their best to do what they could. But a lot of that time, you think about the first touchdown to Gabriel Davis, Forrest, I mean, he literally runs right by Forrest, and you look at Forrest, kind of look at him like, I should be running now. Yeah. I should be. And you see him kind of turn around, and you're just like,
breakdown.
Like, come on, man. Like this, I mean, and we got to shout them out. We have been shouting about how they've been doing. But when and again, like you said, this is an established passing offense. These guys have been playing together. They know how good they can be. And I mean, that back end, we got to shore that up. And we absolutely have to if we're going to have a chance, because a lot of times, if you look at a lot of those plays, especially the deep ones that Josh Allen threw, he had a lot of time. But our D-line is trying to get in there. Then eventually he'd find somebody and he'd hit him, or eventually he'd scramble out because of the time that he has back there. So it's a full team effort on offense and defense, but still it's just, you want them to do a little bit better, and you expect a little bit better, especially for how good they appeared to play at certain parts of the game.
Well, with the defense, and especially our DBs, when we're talking about them, we need them to squeeze the ball and catch it.
Yes.
Cam Curl had a ball go right through his hands. Now, it was a bullet from Josh Allen. I mean, that thing was humming. God. But it literally just went right through his hands and right to the receiver. So it's like, and we've had that in each of the – Percy Butler's dropped a couple interceptions. Mm-hmm. Cam Curl dropped one in the Cardinals game, and then, this one happened. So our DBs are in a position to make plays. Manny Forbes dropped one in the first game of the season too. The very last play of the game, he knocked it down instead of catching it. So it's one of those things where they're in position to make plays. Now we need plays to be made, and we're going into a game where you're going to have to make these plays to keep us competitive in it. So it continues to be this missed opportunities of, we have the ability to stay competitive. It's they got to be able to finish plays.
Right. And hey, you got it. You got to get all facets of the game. And again, I can't harp on this enough. This is a team in Buffalo that 3 of the last 4 years has been in the divisional round or the AFC championship game. You know what I mean? This is a top tier team who a lot of people are saying, yeah, that window might be closing, but they're still top 3 in the AFC, along with the Bengals, along with the Chiefs. They have proven that they can do it. So the fact that we got stomped the way we did, it is like, this is what you would expect normally from us. It's just that, you look at the last 2 weeks and you have a little higher expectations because we were able to come back and things like that. But there were some hints in those last couple games, a la that first half against a poor Denver team that was able to go up and down the field on us in the tune of 21 points early in that game. So it wasn't like we didn't see this coming in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. That's a great point. It's like on 2 levels. You had to know our rookie quarterback was going to have a game that he regressed on. Yep. You had to. But also, more importantly, just like you said, it's not like we were 2-0 looking real impressive.
Right.
Okay. It's not like we were 2-0 with the offense really humming, with the defense flying around, making plays and shutting down. We weren't putting up Madden stats out there.
Right.
It was the fact that in both games, we had to overcome deficits. In both of our last 2 games, we were losing to a team we should not be losing to and had to rally against them. So to the point of, you had to see something, like you said, the dam breaking and something happening out there. So there shouldn't be too much of a surprise. And I think, originally, I posted on our Twitter account, just throw this game tape away. But actually, this is what we want to look at.
Yes.
Because there were things that were seen out there that were repeated from the Denver game that we need to be addressing. It's the fact, I'll give Ron credit. I don't have the perfect quote from him. I'll kind of butcher it, but he said, you learn more in losses than you do with wins, because you walk away kind of happy. Like, we gave up 6 sacks, but remember that throw to Terry McLaurin in the back of the end zone? Oh man, Sam could throw it. He can fight him off and he can throw it. We moved past the problems out there as fans because we won. Where now you get an opportunity to really dissect it because you lost, to say, okay, this went wrong, this went wrong, this went wrong, and really kind of look into it with a much tighter microscope.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And look, like we alluded to, at the end of the day, harping on you can't give the ball away. At the end of the day, you can't give the other team 5 opportunities, 4 interceptions and a fumble. Cannot give them that many opportunities to succeed, especially not a good team. Right. Unfortunately, that is what we did. Sam Howell threw 4 interceptions. Antonio Gibson also had a fumble that we lost. And Sam Howell had 9 sacks. I mean, look, at the end of the day, this can't happen. Up until this point, I believe we have 19 sacks in 2023.
He's been sacked 19 times.
Yeah. Yes. That's not a good pace. No. We're not on good, let's be very honest with that. So that's me giving him the benefit of the doubt. With that being said, I'll go back to the very first sack. You're sitting here, you drop back, you have receivers coming, you see the rush, you have a check down. You look at the check down, you pat the ball, and then you start looking downfield. That one's on you. That has to be go with that first. You got to go with instinct. You need to stop. And what it looked like on that play is he's thinking. He needs to react. He needs to just boom. He's open. Get him the ball. Second play. I talked to you about that interception that he threw at the goal line. He had a guy that was short. I think it was Diami Brown, that quick stop route, and he was wide open. And he said, all right, I see something and I'm going to try. But he's getting rushed, so it was an off-balance throw. So it's like, you can't. You're taking opportunities and momentum away from our team. But talk to me, Will, because, yes, this looks ugly. This stat line, the 4 sacks, the 9 sacks, the 4 interceptions that he threw, certain times when he is holding the ball. But one thing that we've said and one thing that is consistent is no matter what, he doesn't shy away. The next time, he still is going to throw it as hard as he can. He still is going to try, even to his detriment. He still tries to throw it out there. So talk to me about these struggles.
Yeah, I mean, similar to what we said, we've been struggling, the first 2 games, you're going to have this with a rookie quarterback. You're going to have his ups and downs. And Sunday was a really, really, really big downgrade. But it also is exposing the continuance of things for him to work on. And this is what's most important is Sam Howell can't get better unless he plays.
Yep.
The things that he's going through, that he's struggling with, he has to learn on the field. He's getting caught, like you said, looking around and not taking his check down. One of the things he hasn't done much, maybe one time I think I can remember in our 3 games, just throw the ball away because nobody's open.
Yeah.
And the time he did it was once in the end zone against Denver there was 7 seconds left and he took a shot and the ball wasn't catchable. And then one other time in that game. But he's not just saying, and remember in preseason against Cleveland where he was scanning the field and he was like, okay, next play. He hasn't done that so far. I think he wants to make plays out there. But then most importantly, it's his ability to read a defense. Now, EB said something, we talked about it 2 weeks ago, where he said, you know what? Sam doesn't make the same mistake twice. And if he gets caught out there by something and confused, it's because he's seeing it for the very first time. And then he learns from it. And that's continuing to happen. One of the things the Bills player said afterwards was they're like, hey, we knew if we could put some pressure on him and get him staying in that pocket and looking around, he would have trouble.
Yep.
Okay. They took film from what the Broncos did, where they were looping players around.
Yes.
Buffalo only ran 4-man rushes, which is concerning for offensive line that we're getting beat 5-on-4. But what they were doing is they were confusing where guys were coming from. It wasn't just their 4 defensive linemen rushing up the field. Linebackers were coming off the edge and the defensive end would drop back into cover. So they were disguising where it's coming from. They were looping players around just to get Sam, confused as to seeing, you see a guy when you snap the ball, he's right in the middle, but then all of a sudden now he's coming off the edge and he can only see him from his peripheral and he's losing track of things. But Sam's detriment at North Carolina was he held onto the ball and his ability to scan the field.
Yep.
He is not my guy here.
And get out of here.
Okay, that is why I'm wearing this shirt, because we got to remember this guy. And this is what they talked about when they said Taylor was so good at processing. He could go 1, 2, 3 really quickly to know where he needed to go with the ball. Problem is he doesn't have the arm to get it to where he needs to go. But he would still throw it to where he needed to go, which is why we had all those dropped interception opportunities last year, because he would just
throw it to somebody.
I got to get it there. And you throw these lollipops. But Sam's still progressing with that. And defenses know that. They're taking that, he's now got 3 games of film and now there's a blueprint on how to play against us. And you darn know Philly is taking note with their defense, with their pass rush, with their linemen, with their linebackers, and they're licking their chops of what they can do. But the best thing about this is it's out on film for Sam to start looking at. And he said, we got to look at the film. We got to look at this. We don't throw this away. We got to look at it so we can learn what happened so we don't make those mistakes again. Yeah.
And I mean, and that's absolutely right. I mean, and again, you look at these, you see 4 interceptions. Obviously, that's one of these that's atrocious. You're like, no, what the heck? What happened? But if you break them down, you start seeing that first one. It was a 3rd and 19. It was after the first sack he took, So he's sitting here holding it, trying to make the play. That's something that works in certain situations. And if he's bearing down and he completes it, you're like, oh man, look at, he stood in the pocket. But then there are certain other situations, like on this 3rd and 19, where he's like, all right, I want to get it down there. And you're not watching that linebacker, Bernard, roaming underneath, who incidentally made an amazing play. I mean, he jumped out of his shoes to get the ball, but still it's one of those things that you got to pay attention. You got to see, is it worth it to try to get it here and gun this ball down here? Or can I maybe scramble or check down or something else to live to see another day? You know what I mean? Then you go with the second interception, which was on 3rd and 2, where goes back to the play call where you're sitting here like, why are we in the shotgun on a 3rd and 2? And what else is happening now? We have 4 wide receivers and we have a running back coming out into the flat. So you're taking even less guys in the backfield to help block and stuff like that. What did we say with the offseason? We need to help Wiley. We need to help Leno. We need to start chipping these D ends, use these tight ends, Arma. Why else do we bring him up to start staying in the backfield and chip and help out? anytime Sam got a guy in his face, Sam wants to be Mr. I'm going to get it around you. I'm going to find a way to make this great pass. When there are some times when you just got to go down or throw it away or do something. But if you have a guy in your face and you can't see, and Sam's not particularly tall at all.
Nope.
So, you know what I mean? Like even some of those passes look like he's up on his tippy toes trying to get it. So you're seeing this stuff and it's like, Sam, hold it. But then you sit there again. You got a 2nd and 8, and you're trying to force it. You're trying to get all of these points back at one. All of these things are little things. It's like Sam can't do that, but he can't do that. You got to live to see another day. Know the down and distance. Know the situation that's going on in the game, because at that point in the 3rd interception, he's driving. We're driving down the field. Brian Robinson does not get enough credit for how well he played in this game, because a lot of these times it's the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th tackler that are finally bringing him down. He's carrying guys down the field, but you only give him 10 carries. You know what I mean? I think he had a total of 12 carries. I think Gibson had a carry or 2. Right. Sam Howell had a carry, and then you had that. But you still had over 100 yards because B-Rob did what he did. You know what I mean? And then on the last one, Sam finally does what I want him to do. He gets a little pressure, steps up, and I'm like, oh, shoot, okay. Pump fake, cut back, do something, because that defender knows you're trying to throw it behind him. But why are you, Mr. Short Quarterback, trying to overthrow a defender that's right in front of you? And if you look at the pass, he throws it, but he throws it almost like down. Like he's like, this is the height where his arm is, but the ball goes down. So the defender isn't catching it here. He's catching like right here. So he catches it there, and then he has a convoy to the end zone.
Right.
You know what I mean? But all of this stuff is fixable. All this stuff is correctable. But it is a situation where you're kind of like, Sam, you should know better than that, man. Like, what's going on in here, man? Take a deep breath or do something, because it wasn't some of these. The one in the end zone, the guy made a great play on the ball. The first one, he jumps out of his shoes, like I said, makes a great play on the ball. But some of these other ones, it's like, Sam, you're forcing this, buddy. You don't need to do this, especially after your first 2. So it's like you said, he's got the tape. He's got to learn from it. He's got to review it. That's great. But no matter how much tape you review, no matter how much you learn, until you see that stuff, like you said, till you experience it, until you learn from it, we're going to be in that same situation. So I'm ready to see him learn, but the fact that we have to do it now against a division rival and the NFC's, runner-up in the Super Bowl, I mean, I see in the background. Come on, man.
Well, so, look, Sam's got. Go ahead. I jumped in.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this is all good for the tape to learn to move up, but don't want to see it happen.
Sam has to work on situational awareness.
Yep.
Okay. And it's what you're alluding to. It's the fact we got the ball in the very first drive that we had. We got the ball to the 25. Then he took a 9-yard sack. Mm-hmm. So, and then on 3rd down, he tried to do too much, where against a good team last week and now against a good team this week, we got to be going for points. And so if it's 3rd and 19, you need to be moving the ball forward. You need to almost in your head know, I've conceded this drive. The goal is field goal. The goal is not to throw the ball past the sticks to get that first down. There's time and place for that, but when we hit the red zone, or we hit within a position where we're in a place to get points, he's got to get more conservative out there. So he should not have thrown that ball and that first interception. They should have run a much softer, an easier play to get some points. You're conceding the fact that you're not going to get a first down. You're setting up a field goal because you're just trying to get points on the scoreboard. Same thing after half. Same thing. They drove down again, and then he went for too much. So he needs to understand. He needs to have situational awareness. He also needs to be aware of the fact that now that we're in the red zone, there's going to be less time. I don't have 2 seconds. And so if that play's not there, he's got to get rid of the ball, whether that means he's running it to just gain a couple yards or throwing the ball away. So he needs to be protective of scoring opportunities more, which, like you said, you can only learn from experience. It's good to put it on film, to see so we can really see out there. But this is going to be his biggest test because he's got the arm strength, he's got the accuracy, he's got the athleticism, he's got the ability to brush off bad plays. But he's not the only guy who came out of college with all those abilities.
Right.
What separates is, can they scan the field? Can you be like my smart guy here from ODU and scan the field? Because that is where his next progression level will be. And he's got a whole season to prove that. And he needs to be given the whole season to find, can he do that? We know he's got the arm talent. Can he develop into a franchise quarterback?
Yeah, we can't all get into the league and get to run the same system we've been running since college. All right, like Mr. Taylor Heineke. All right, I swear he's the only quarterback that Scott Turner's offense works with, and it barely worked. But he got it done. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick breather. And on the other side, we've got a special guest for you. A Philadelphia Eagles fan, ladies and gentlemen. Is it true? Is it true? Stay tuned and go ahead and check us out.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I am Janae Strother.
I'm Sean Spencer.
We are back.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta go out and hold up.
Come on. The lion. The lion. New man so fine. Kirk Cousins.
All right. I am Janae Strother.
I'm Sean Spencer.
And this is Let's Talk Football.
Buddy, that was the commercial for Let's Talk Football. That will be Monday night. Myself and Janae Strother at 7:30 p.m. And she's a Cowboys fan, so
it's the show that started it all.
Hey, and I don't know how we still are friends, but she's a diehard Cowboys fan. But I let her know, man, because she can't even beat the Cardinals. That was so sweet. But look, we got another bird here. A bird that we are hoping to shoot out of the sky, but well, after 4 interceptions, we don't know. We got to welcome to the show, diehard Eagles fan Jeremy Powers. What up, Jeremy?
Well, what's up, guys? Hey, I tell you what, I enjoy your show. I really, it's a ton of fun to listen to. You guys are football junkies, man. That's just hard not to love. So it's just a ton of fun to get to hang out with you guys, talk a little smack, but I think we can all agree the Dallas Cowboys suck, right?
Yeah,
I mean, at least that together. I mean, so, it is what it is. I don't mind when the Commanders win. I don't mind when the Giants win. I just love to see Dallas lose.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See, now, so Sean, he's already living up to it. I told Sean before, I said, Jeremy is the nicest Eagles fan I've ever met, and that's a rarity in this world.
That's it. They need one of me. And the thing is, I'm Columbia, South Carolina, born and raised. I have no reason to be an Eagles fan, but Donovan McNabb. I remember picking up Madden. I remember trying to find my team. I sent you guys a photo earlier of Blitz the League, on Blitz, on Madden. Just Donovan McNabb was just, man, he was just special. And for me, players do that, like Brandon Roy. In the NBA, like he made me a trailblazer. Like I'm just a big, because we don't have professional sports here. We just have, you'll see behind me the Gamecocks, and that's about it. Who cares about Clemson? But at the end of the day, man, it's just players can do it. But man, I never. Oh, I see that. Okay, all right, I see that. I would tell you guys that I just jumped on the Eagles. Young, and man, no one cared. I would wear all this Eagles stuff and no one would care. Then we won a Super Bowl. It was like, oh, are you one of those bandwagon fans? I'd be like, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me, because we must be good if you're asking me those kind of questions.
Right. Well, you bring up, Donovan McNabb is who brought you in. And I mean, I can say this, Sean, I don't know if you feel the same, but like, I loved him as a player too. He was one of those guys that was like, he was so good, and you hated that you had to play him twice a year, and he played for a team he didn't like, because I just respected his play so much.
Yeah.
To the point when they traded for him, when the Redskins traded for him, I don't know if I've ever been more excited. I was way more excited about him than RG3. And it was just, I called up my buddy and I said, he's a Steeler fan. I said, for the first time in my life that we've known each other, we have a better quarterback than you do, And he was like, oh my gosh. And then McNabb just busted when Washington.
That's right.
So
it's that curse of it's the Washington curse.
It was the Snyder curse.
I didn't mean to say all that. I was just joking,
It was. It's true.
There's truth.
Yeah. So we want to kind of talk about this Eagles team. Sean and I, obviously, as you say, we pay attention to the league. We certainly pay attention to the NFC East and look around. But I also, we're not as dialed in and stuff. But so that's why we want to kind of hear your perspective. So you guys had an unbelievable year last year. Made it to the Super Bowl. Were plays away from winning it. You dominated teams on your way to the Super Bowl, especially the way you manhandled San Francisco, regardless of the fact that they were playing their running back at quarterback eventually. But what are the expectations this year? Like, is there a lot of pressure on this Eagles team to reproduce what you had?
I would say for me, the fact that, Jalen Hurts, and we'll talk about it a little bit how, his playing right now compared to last year, but whenever he makes his screensaver on his phone, the confetti falling, and it's not the color of his team, and that's what he looks at all off season, is his head bowed walking into the locker room with confetti that's not like you should be celebrating, but yet you're defeated. The way that he handled himself all off season, and the way that we really, I feel like, dominated the NFL draft when maybe we shouldn't have, because we were the first to lose. Right. We came in second place, so we should have had, not, but I mean, obviously we had some picks and all, but, I would say that the expectations are there. Who cares that we lost our defensive coordinator? We're just fine. Who cares the things that like that? I mean, we have the team, we have all the pieces. Kelsey didn't retire. You still got Fletcher Cox. You've added Jalen Carter, who is just an absolute monster. Nolan Smith. I mean, you've got, I mean, it is just absolutely insane what we have. So I truly believe that we should do amazing. I don't know if you guys remember last year, the first week of the season, we played the Lions and we almost lost that game.
Yes.
And then we go on to be undefeated for a substantial amount of time and end up losing to you guys of all people, so you can ride high on that.
We haven't forgotten.
That game was the bane of my existence. I just felt sick for a week.
No more.
Yep.
That's right. I know it was beautiful for you guys, so, and trust me, if I could be happy for anyone, I was happy for you too. So, because I know that had to be a great feeling. So, so ultimately for me, last year it was unexpected. This year it's almost like, hey, if you don't, it's kind of a bust because you didn't lose any pieces. You really reloaded.
Right. You said you guys won the draft. I mean, the amount of Georgia Bulldogs that you guys have added, and it's like, it's not fair that you not only had Big Baby, and then the next time you get the other guy. It's like, how this isn't fair.
Yeah. Stay right there for a second, because I know where Will lives. I know where he reps that Garnet. It's not red, it's Garnet. That's South Carolina, and I see you in the background with that. But how is it to get like literally the last two national championship defenses? Most of those main pieces on y'all's defense.
Mm-hmm. It hurts when we're playing them in college ball, but when they make it to your NFL team, you're a little bit more okay with it, So it's, college ball. So I just have to say, I don't think anyone in the NFL is Howie Roseman right now.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Like love or hate him, I don't know. I mean, Jerry Jones sold something to the wrong person, and he got, he tried to buy some, wins out of the back of somebody's, trunk of their vehicle, and it ended up not turning out for him. Howie Roseman found the right guy and bought the right stuff. You know what I mean? Because he is just absolutely on fire. And I think that it's cool that so many people are talking about him, because usually they're always back in the shadows. Like, I can't even think of 3 other teams' GM. You know what I mean? But Howie Roseman has everyone talking because he is just absolutely a strategic chess player, and you're watching that play out.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to ask, because you alluded to it earlier, and obviously staying in the SEC, you got your quarterback. Everybody gives this man a hard time. And I personally am kind of offended by it. Jalen Hurts has proven himself not only in the pros, but in my opinion in college. When he was at Bama, he was more of a mobile guy. He was more of a mobile quarterback. And in that national championship where they had to yank him for Tua, it's because the arm was not developed maybe like some other pro quarterbacks. He goes to Oklahoma. Saban tells him, you need to get with guys that can work with quarterbacks. And we see him in the league. Obviously, the best player in the league last year was y'all doing a QB sneak with everybody pushing the pile.
The tush push.
Right. You know
we did it 3 or 4 times last week. The tush. I don't know why other people aren't copying it. The boy's got some thick thighs, I guess. He's just getting through it. So. But I mean, you can squat 600 pounds.
I get it that everybody wants to start tagging these guys. If you got some legs, they want to tag you as a running back. Talk to us about Jalen Hurts and that arm, that passing attack, because the run is great, but the pass is lethal.
Yeah. Well, so what I start with is actually not on the football field, except it just kind of leaks through, and that's his leadership capabilities. Yeah. You look at him in the national championship when he's pulled. Who's the first person high-fiving?
Absolutely.
The quarterback when it comes off the field. Yes. Who's the first one when a reporter says, hey, you're an Oklahoma guy? He reps Alabama. He reps Oklahoma. He's not here for the games. He's here to get better. And almost I feel like that's almost a little bit to his detriment right now. And like I said, we'll kind of talk about it. But if you look at him, his demeanor, there's A this and there's B that and he's just so calm and cool and collected because that's the persona that everyone's had for him. I feel like he's almost taken that on the field because it's this persona that's been created. He used to just go to work and no one looked, and now every light is on him. And so I feel like he's just kind of that calm and cool and relaxed guy in the pocket. And I feel like that's actually a little bit in a hindrance of us this season. I feel like, I hate to say this, but he's one of the pieces that I feel like is causing us to go a little bit slow this year. And that's just my opinion. But once again, his leadership, the ability, the way the team rallies around him, the way that he's like, hey, guys, I don't know if you guys have read a book called Extreme Ownership, but I love it. Jocko Willink is he's a military guy, and he just talks about if you take extreme ownership, then you can change the situation. Jalen Hurts does an amazing job of owning that and being that. And I think that's where it starts. I think that he's got an incredible arm. I think that he has incredible legs. I think he has a great vision for the game. But also, let's just be transparent. There were 2 or 3 times that pictures were taken when we were playing last week. DeAndre Swift had a hole the size of, it literally, all of Israel could have walked through that when the Red Sea was parted. It was parted, okay? I wish the Gamecocks could experience that kind of an offensive line for a few weeks. So it's not just Jalen Hurts. It's, once again, Howie Roseman has built a team. And you're getting to see people that are good look great because of a good, clean team.
Yeah, well, it's Jalen Hurts. It's very similar to the McNabb situation with him, where it's like, God, I love this guy. I just can't stand that uniform that he puts on. When they did an interview last year, and it was Donovan and it was Michael Vick talking about being the quarterback in Philly and leading the city and who you can be from that and how much they'd love you. It was, you couldn't help but root for the guy. And you even see it there on the field too. He just goes out there and plays, okay. So there's a celebration after a touchdown. Everyone's doing that. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me. He just goes out and plays ball. And like you said, he's the type of player out there that you're just like, dang it, I wish he was on my team.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the same way I felt as a college fan about Dabo Swinney. Like, being a Gamecock fan, it's like, why does that guy have to be the coach of my rival team? Because I'm going to be transparent. Like, he is such a great motivational speaker, a great players coach. He really cares so much about them after football. And I'm sorry, that kind of stuff to me is that's what is amazing about the sport, is true leaders to these men, because 95% of them will never see another snap when they're done. I'm like, why the hell does this guy get to be my rival's coach? Why can't he be like Washington State or something? And I can just be like, man, look at that cool guy. So I know how you guys feel when it comes to. Luckily, Washington's never had a quarterback, so I can't really compare it to. I don't have a quarterback to get jealous about. So,
well, the good thing is though, the more I hear from Clemson fans is they're seeing the same thing. They're like, gosh, Beamer. He's you know, so we're starting to have some of that. But
you're 100% right.
Yeah, you brought up a really good point about Jalen and what the team that he came into. And the Eagles had focused on the line, the trenches, offensive and defense. But he's got a great offensive line, and they just said we're just going to keep beefing that up and drafting guys and developing guys. They made some great shrewd moves to trade for an AJ Brown, to give up a 6th-round pick for DeAndre Swift. Come on, Detroit. What are you doing? So they assembled this great team behind him. So he's got a lot of pieces to help him. But you mentioned they're running slower this year. And one of the things Philly was known for was quick plays and getting more and more plays than the other team gets an opportunity to, and not letting them substitute and get off the field. So you've got a new offensive coordinator. Yeah. How is that transition? You lost your offensive coordinator, you lost your defensive coordinator. How is the team transitioning?
Yeah, I would say defensively, I feel like we are just in a great spot. I truthfully do. I wish that secondary once again could play for the Gamecocks because we don't have a secondary, in college level, So at the end of the day, for me, I really am not nervous at all about the defensive side of the ball because they're getting pressure. They blitz enough. Our coverage, in my opinion, is pretty good. I mean, there's a few times that we'll give up here and there, but you can't be perfect. So the defensive side of the ball, I'm right now extremely good with. And even special teams, I truly believe we have one of the best kickers in the NFL. We have a stone cold killer, and I'm so thankful that you got him as a rookie. Think about when we got Jalen Hurts, how blessed we're. 2nd round. No one now believes that we got him in the 2nd round.
Right.
But a lot of teams passed him up. Yeah. I was so excited when we drafted him. But offensively, once again, I feel like the biggest struggle is that no one, and maybe that's a little bit of an offensive coordinator thing, but I feel like we're trying to be so calm, cool, collected. Leadership is just, it's all about not, because if you're going quick and you're doing this, it almost seems like you're frantic. And it's like, no, you're just really good at that.
Yeah.
And so it almost just seems like they're acting like they deserve to be there. And that is actually hindering them right now. And so I would just like to see a little more urgency on offense personally as a fan. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think not only did you tire teams out by doing that, but you guys would just stay in this rhythm, and a lot of it had to do with the handoffs. And it was like, well, you couldn't stop us this time. Now we're going to do it again. Now we're going to do it again. And you were just wearing teams down on a drive by doing that. So I love hearing that Brian Johnson, your offensive coordinator, kind of slowed things down.
Well, just watch the game this weekend, or even go back and look at tape. Look at Jalen Hurts in the pocket. He's just like he's calm, he's cool, he's there, and then all of a sudden it's like there would have been 1 or 2, but all of a sudden then he just runs out and he gets maybe 2 yards, or he just gets sacked because it's almost like he's just like, I'm good. I've got the best center in the game right in front of me. I've got this, I've got that. I think if you watch it, you're just kind of like, wow, like this isn't the guy. Luckily he's not doing what Joe Burrow's doing right now, or Daniel Jones is doing right now. We're 3-0. Do we deserve to be 3-0? I truly don't believe it at all. I think that we, of the 3-0 teams, I believe that we are the least worthy of that, if I'm being transparent. Now, just as someone who's watched every play of every game, we are not the team that we were last year that was just lights out on fire. So I think for Washington, I don't think you're as scared as you were when you played us and beat us last year. Now, I sure as hell think that, trust me, they've had this game circled. They want to, and I would tell you that your quarterback better be nervous because that defensive line can be fresh at all times, and I guarantee you they're going to give him hell. Yes. I think that our offense also being a little bit slower is what keeps our defense so fresh, though. Yeah. So it's almost like it's almost like a tough thing, because there's been several times that we've gotten against, I forget who it was that we were playing, but the Patriots, obviously we went up big, and then they came back. And then the Vikings, we've made them muff like 2 punts. We got an interception or a fumble. Like, we should have been up by so much, but our offense never did anything.
Right.
And I think that you guys will see that when we play, that this is not the Eagles team from 2022 that honestly never should have been there, but they worked so hard to get there.
Yeah.
They deserved it towards the end of the season, but no one went in saying, man, I'm putting the Eagles to play in the Super Bowl.
Right.
No one did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even all the way up into the championship. But like, a lot of teams were still kind of like, San Francisco, they're a quarterback away. San Francisco, if they can just da-da-da. And the fact of the matter is, I think you're right, is you want to keep that defense healthy. So the offense is going a little slower. And I think this is going to be a defensive battle. Because actually, if you look at that first game that we played against y'all, we didn't score until late in the fourth quarter. Now, we had Carson Wentz at quarterback, obviously. But for most of that game, with the D that you had and those weapons, Devonta Smith torched us. Devonta Smith went off on us in the first game. AJ Brown, you saw what he was able to do. So, hopefully it'll be a defensive thing. But at the same time, once y'all started running the ball last year, even in the game we won, we had to take a step back because then you started flowing. Then you started getting going and everything like that. So my question, like when we're going to play, it's going to be tough. We know how divisional matchups are. And I think you guys circled it. Obviously, Sam in his mind is saying, I need to be a lot better than I did against Buffalo. But when you're looking at this one, and let's get right into the preview of this game. When you're looking at this, what are some of the things, not necessarily keys, but what are some of the things that you're thinking, okay, we got to pick on this. We got to do that. Obviously.
Perfect. And I'm going to dive right into that, but I don't want us to get off of this without for a moment at the end talking about the Giants and what they were last year and how everyone thought they were going to beat us in the playoffs. And they looked incredible, coach of the year, and then how their season has truthfully started. So I want to just put a pin in that, okay?
Sure.
But, man, I think what is going to do it for us this week is I don't know a better team, and it just blows my mind in so many areas. I feel like we're just stacked, even though it's not showing at the moment, even though we're 3-0. DeAndre Swift, Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott, and then Rashad Penny is your fourth back. That is mind-blowing. Any of these running backs could get quality time, in my opinion, on any NFL team. Penny is a little injury, but if he had never been injured, he's a featured back. Okay, and so you think about it, we had Darren Sproles and we had Miles Sanders, and we had all these people, and it's like, well, man, how do we keep freaking reloading? Like no one cares about Miles Sanders. Once again, wish him all the luck in the world with the Panthers, but man, like DeAndre Swift has come in, and he's a hometown kid.
Yeah.
Like he literally woke up one day and his dreams came true. And to see him and to not freaking put him on my damn fantasy football team, excuse my language, but to know he was going to play in Philly and get to the waiver wire late, not get in, and then watch him go off. And literally, guys, this is a kid who woke up and he was in kindergarten and he was drawing Eagles and he was like, I want to be an Eagles player when I grow up. And dude, how cool is it? Even if you're a fan of the opposing team, to see somebody literally living out what they've dreamed of their whole career. And the smile, the excitement every time a coach or a reporter gets him, he's just like, I get to talk. Is this real? Man, that gets me so excited. And I truthfully believe that his excitement is honestly, it's what gets the team to wake up and realize, hey, it's a new year. I think that it was so wise that happened. Looking back, I'm so thankful. But if our running game can get off to a good start and we can get that momentum and get hot, and Jalen Hurts doesn't have to once again feel like he has to be this poised and everything's on his shoulders, and he, I feel like when he feels like he can't make a mistake, that's when he does. And so because he goes back to that fumble in the Super Bowl and says, I'll never let it happen again. But, that same thing has happened 3 times this season already. You know what I mean? And so for me, I think that our running game is going to be a key. And then I think that our defense getting your quarterback pressured early and getting in his head. If we let you guys go down the field 1 or 2 times and you get going, you've got a quarterback that is in the NFL, okay? He made it here. He's quality. Any quarterback can have a day. Look at Dobbs went off against Dallas last week. Who thought?
Look at Taylor Heineke last year. He had 1 day.
That's right. You get 1 day, and so that's the thing is that it could happen, and sometimes a team just has a day, and so I'm just going to say our defense is the lines. It's our O-line and it's our D-line. What can they do? Because we've got all the pieces. I don't know how good your secondary is. That's my thing is I don't know. Maybe we're going to have to switch it up and put the ball out there. We've got receivers that can catch.
Yes,
in my opinion, we've got a top 10 tight end in the league that nobody wants to talk about.
Right.
And so I just can't look anywhere on our team and not feel confident that we're ready to roll.
On paper. It absolutely is on paper. Let's go into our keys, and then once we finish up the Eagles segment, let's talk about those Giants.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know what segment this is. This is where we pick 2 things that we think are going to help us win in our keys to victory. So, as our guest, Jeremy, we will give you the first key, and we will all go around and give ours, and then we'll come back around to you. So, what is your first key to victory in the Washington versus Philly game?
I think it's going to come down to offensive line play. That's my first key. Is it's going to be, can we create the same holes that we created last week and get our running game off to a good start?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yep.
Well, what you think, man?
Well, I'm kind of going with that for Washington's sake with the offensive line. So they need to shorten the game in the same way they did last year in the victory. They had 49 rushes on the Monday Night Football game. And what that did was it kept Philly's offense off the field. That's important to do, especially since in the first game, they quick strike touchdowns on us, so that's very important. We've got the running back in B-Rob that is the possession style running back. So he went 10 carries for 70 yards. So let's double that. Let's triple that, let's let Gibson fumble the ball. And now he's going to be angry. Very early, let's give him a chance. If he starts to struggle, I know how to catch myself. Let's feed Chris Rodriguez then. He's the bruiser running back. Let's, when it is 3rd and 2 early on, maybe we need to try and run the ball a little bit. We need to soften that defense. We can't let that defensive line, they're going to be confident, just think they're just going to bull rush over us and stop us. So we need to pound them so we can shorten the game, limit the amount of possessions that Philly's offense has, and which is the game plan from last year.
For me, I go with the heartbeat of our team. The heartbeat of our team is that D line, those 4 D linemen. They got to play extraordinary. They got to play superb in this ball game. We know what your line is. We know what your offense can be, but our defense has to get you guys off of out of whack. We got to sit there and disrupt that whole thing, get you guys behind the chains, and start giving you 2nd and 3rd and longs in that ball game, and give our offense more opportunities. So, what you got for the second one, Jeremy?
I would say my second key to victory is going to be our secondary, because I do believe our D line, they are what they are, and they can be fresh. They've got such a leader in Fletcher Cox. That's the key right there. Is you've got Kelsey leading the offensive line, you've got Fletcher Cox leading that defensive line. That was another Howie Roseman win. So you've got those key leaders. So that's good there. But our secondary has to be able to not allow you guys to soften us up. And then all of a sudden, boom, 3rd and 6, you're getting that, or 3rd and 2, you're putting off that quick little, you guys are, I feel like, really good at those quick slot, those that get, and that's where you guys get into teams' heads, is that you just keep getting that first down. And it just defeats someone. So I think it's our secondary not allowing us to be – I don't want to see 13 play drives. Like if you're going to score in 3 plays, don't give us those 13 play drives. Don't eat up most of the clock. I need our secondary to step up and to create some chaos with turnovers. That, to me, is the second key.
Well, I like that. All right, Will, what's your second one?
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of piggyback on a little bit of what he's saying. So this segment's working out really well with what you're saying. And I'm going to stick to the Commanders' offense and the fact that Ron Rivera said last week against Buffalo it was a statement game. Actually, this is your statement game on offense to see, can you rebound? Eric Bieniemy, can you come up with a better game plan that puts your quarterback in a situation for him to be successful? And are you going to change some of the calls so he's not sitting there waiting on guys running middle to deep routes to get open, which is his struggle right now for the offensive line to block it and for him to go through his reads. So I want to, my key is don't let the rush happen. Okay. Get short throws for Sam. Get the ball out of his hands quickly, to what Jeremy just said, with some slants and stuff, and get the ball out quickly so that these defensive linemen don't have a chance to penetrate. Move the pocket. Yeah. We saw in Buffalo early on, they rolled Sam right and he threw it to Terry McLaurin. I understand you're taking away half the field, but I also want to point out that you're taking away those defenders on that side. Said you're not getting to him. You're not a part of this play. We're going the opposite way of where you are. And so I think it's important to not be – you can't just do a 5-step, 7-step drop and just let Sam wait and give those guys a chance to penetrate him. I want to see us utilize our screens. We focused so much on that in the offseason, and we worked on that, and it worked in Denver. And you've got guys like Gibson, who is a great – weapon in the screen game. Let's utilize some of that. Brian Robinson did really well against Denver. That's also going to take the pressure off the pass rush. And this is the part I don't know, but so far in Philly's 3 wins, they've also given up over 300 yards to Mac Jones and Kirk Cousins. All right. Kirk's got, a great weapon there with Justin Jefferson, but they've given up passing yards. So how? What did those teams do? What type of routes and concepts got guys open? Let's mimic that and go after these corners in the secondary.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And my last one is complementary football. Special team needs to help. Hey, I every week. Every week, hey, complimentary football. What we needed. Our offense needs to not put our defense in terrible situations like in the Buffalo game. Our defense needs to be able to get off the field and give our offense more opportunities. But even more than both of those, our special teams needs to play big, which means Sly needs to make his kicks because he's missed a couple this year. We know he's got a leg, but he can definitely miss them. Tress Way, in my opinion, is one of the best punters in the league. Will and I have always said, even when we had the worst times here in Washington, he was our MVP because the guy comes out and plays. One of the stats I always say to Will is we got to get to a game where our quarterback has more yards than our punter because our punter seems to have more yards all the time.
Well, really quick, I would say your punter gets a lot of practice. That's not fair.
Yes,
exactly.
I'll just play. I'll just play.
There you go. Okay.
Man, I really like that, though. I like what you're saying because, I go back to and think, how defeated does a defense feel or special teams feel when like we forced the Vikings to muff the ball, we forced 2 fumbles and an interception, and we didn't capitalize on a single one of those. Right. I love the way you put that, and that's a great key. I hope it doesn't come true for you, but that's a great key.
Right.
But look, hey, and shout out to you. Those are our keys to victory. But let's go back into the NFC East. Let's talk about the Giants. Let's talk about the crappy Cowboys and how they lost to the Cardinals. I'm going to say that multiple times. But let's dive into that because things are a little bit different than they were last year.
Yeah. Man, the NFC East is a powerhouse. Yes, we're going to talk junk about Dallas, but dang, have they not. Like, when they came out, I looked at Daniel Jones that first game, and I literally thought he had just read like 3 Goosebumps books, and he was 7 years old, and his parents said, you got to cut the light off and go to bed. Dude, he looked terrified. Like, he was so confused where he was. Dallas, as hard as it is for me to say, because I go work out every morning with a Dallas fan, they are a team this year. And that scares me because I never in my life want to experience Dallas winning a Super Bowl with the way their fans are, okay? Right. So it is terrifying to me. You guys have a team this year. Like, it's easy when you're your fan to sometimes get way up and sometimes get way down. But, like, from the outside looking in, you guys have a phenomenal team. The Giants are that team that and us, honestly, even though we're 3-0, any one of us could be 3-0, okay? All of the teams in the NFC, in my opinion, except for the Giants right now because they've had to come back so heroically or just drop it all. But, like, you guys could easily be 3-0 and everyone's talking about you. We could. Dallas honestly could be, okay? But the thing is, though, is, man, like, I love it when our division is on fire like this because we're going to play each other all 2 times. You better bring your A game.
Yes.
And you best bet you're going to be ready for the playoffs. I wouldn't want to be in a rinky-dink division where, like you're getting all these cupcake wins because you're not going to be ready for it. I love when our division is hitting at all cylinders. And I really think this year we might be 3-0, but it's anyone's ball game. I could see 3 of us in the playoffs again.
Oh yeah, it could happen. I think you're kind of kind by saying that just because you're 3-0, anyone can. I mean, I think the rest of the division would almost kind of concede that Philly is definitely the best of all of them. I think it'll be interesting to see with Dallas because they've gotten a couple injuries that are hurting them. But right now, on paper, Dallas looks like they should be really good. And then what they've shown on the field right now is that they're kind of a fraud based on who they've played. But that could all change. It's the very first part of the season.
Yeah.
For me with the Giants, man, I'm honestly sitting there like, I want to quote Denny Green. They are who we thought we were. It's Daniel Jones coming back to life. It's who are their wide receivers right now? It's like Saquon Barkley's hurt yet again. I'm like, how did they win all these games last year? I couldn't. I got so frustrated when we tied and then lost to them. And I was like, how is this team? Like, they're not better than us. How is this happening? Mm-hmm. So I'm glad to see them kind of come back down because I didn't understand it last year.
Yeah.
Now I do have to remind us all that there was a year during the pandemic where the Giants did start absolutely atrocious. Somehow turned it back around. I saw the first game, and I absolutely was laughing my butt off, and be honest with you. The fact that the Giants were getting skunked so bad, not the fact that the Cowboys looked as amazing as you said.
Week 1 was good.
Yeah, but then
I cried because I was winning my fantasy football game by 39 points, and the Dallas defense scored 42 points. Okay, so I literally lost to a Dallas fan.
Yeah,
because and he literally had conceded earlier that day. Jeremy, I lost. Dallas. Yeah. So for me, it was pretty, but I was like, surely I went to sleep in like the third quarter. I was like, surely Dak will get a few points. Surely the Giants will score. I woke up in this morning. I was like, what the flip, dude? Are you kidding me? Like, could you imagine being a Dallas fan all offseason and you're just, I mean, not a Dallas fan, but a Giants fan, and you're just like, it's football night. Yeah, I have a few guys that go to my church. They were like, you guys get ready. It's going down tonight. I was like, I heard crickets. Boy, I don't even think the crickets were talking. They were like, nope, I'm good. Right? Yeah, I'll tell you what.
But like you said, Jeremy, and I love what you said, is that we are back. This division is back. I mean, people, they called us the NFC least a couple years ago, and it was absolutely ridiculous, but we were all bad that year. Yeah. But I love that we're getting back to those teams in the 80s, those teams in the early 90s that were just absolutely amazing, where we would beat each other up, but once we got to the playoffs, nobody else even stood a chance because we have been, bloodying each other and beating each other down. Exactly. So I love that. I love that this is like that. And I could see 3 of us getting into the playoffs. Which 3? Yeah, we'll see. But I'm excited for this year.
Well, the one thing I'll say about the Eagles that gives me hope is that we were extremely unfortunate to play Bill Belichick the first week of the season. Because let's just be honest, Bill Belichick is a master of the craft. And so I believe that in that game, he uncovered a few of our weaknesses, and other teams have been exploiting that. I promise you the Commanders are going back and they're watching week 2 and they're watching week 3, but everyone's watching week 1 because that's what Bill Belichick's so good at. He's so good at halftime. You think it's in the bag, and all of a sudden he's just a master of the game. He really is, as much as I hate to say it. But when you play them early in the season, you almost shoot yourself in the foot. So that's the grace that I give us right now. Yes, we're 3-0. Yes, we're not playing the best football we've ever played, but we went up against Bill Belichick week 1. Everybody's been watching what's going on there, and so it's just taking a little time to adjust. And so that's what I'm holding on to, why we're not firing on all cylinders yet, in my opinion, is that he uncovered a few weaknesses, and now we're having to figure out how do we cover these things up.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, look, we before we go, we did not do the score predictions. So let's go ahead and get into that. Jeremy, we will start with you. What's your prediction for the score in this game this week?
Okay. So Eagles are averaging about 28 points a game. You guys are averaging about 19 points a game. And so the score that I wrote down is actually not far from that. I've got, in my opinion, I think it's going to be something like 31-21. Excuse me, not. I think it's going to be something like probably, something around that range is what I'm thinking. I'm going to say 31-21.
Ooh, I can see that. Will, what you think, man?
Okay. I've got 27-16 Philly. Go with the number. We're going to go 2-2.
Yeah.
I appreciate I appreciate that. Like you're just being honest.
Yeah. Look, well, hey, I'm not far off from it. We're very honest on this show. Look, I said 31-17. I think it's going to be like 17-17 into the fourth, and then it's just going to be a dumb turnover. It's going to be a penalty that's going to
Sam Howell interception.
Huh? A
Sam Howell interception?
No. It's going to be probably a Gibson fumble.
Yeah.
Howell's learned from his mistakes. All right.
Yeah.
And let's hope.
I tell you what, I like you guys. You know, I don't care what everybody says about you. You're all right in my book after those predictions.
We try.
Well, look, I mean, I started my total football season off the right way in Charlotte. So
I understand. Listen, I cried myself to sleep that night.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Football. Who cares about football? Okay.
Right. But, it's all good. Your boy Will set me up. He was like, hey, I'll get the tickets. So I'm out here in my light blue, bright powder blue walking in. I turn up to go up the steps to go see where we're sitting, and I just see a host of Garnet just stare down at me.
Gosh. You almost got it, but golly. I tell you guys what, it's been an absolute pleasure hanging out there. You really do have a great show. I think that you guys you're tried and true fans. And I want to ask you one question before I leave, because I've never experienced this. What's it like when your team goes through an identity crisis? I mean, I'm not talking about in a joking way. I'm not I've always thought about what happens when your team gets up and moves to another state. And now all of a sudden it's like, wait, what? I've never experienced anything like this. So now people are suing because they're not the Redskins. and you've got all this, that, and the other. To me, they're always the Redskins. That's just like the way it is. I just want to honestly ask, and I know we're probably running out of time, or you guys have something else you want to do, but I just want to honestly ask, where's your heart on that? Where are you guys in that whole world of thought?
Go ahead, Will.
It's a very challenging perspective because Sean and I are Redskins fans.
Yes.
We
tried and true.
Would like to see the logo. We would rather see the name. We would rather it be the way it was when we grew up, because we also grew up with some wonderful memories with our family, with friends. Sean and I went to games all the time in high school. And so there's memories that we think of. But yet we also want to be understanding of 2023 and what is, what could be offensive. I think there's a lot of complexities that go into that. And so it's hard to say the word Commanders. It's hard to wear this hat with this logo that I don't think looks very good.
Yeah.
So you could also, you see different jerseys out there. It's not easy, but I also try and take a further step back of it is football. Yeah. It is entertainment. It's still the team from Washington, so I'm going to have some type of rooted interest in them. But they are not the team that I grew up with right now. This is an expansion team is how I view it. And it's hard for my boys wear Redskin jerseys and they look so dang cute in them wearing them. And I can play Hail to the Redskins, but it's not the same because they're never going to experience that themselves. So it is challenging, and it's challenging for personal reasons that aren't, it's a sports team, but it's difficult. Sure. It's very difficult. Sean, I'll let you chime in.
It's frustrating. It's like an ex-girl that you had her for years. You had great memories together and everything, and you broke up. But you're trying to, we get with this girl, and everybody is trying to resemble it, but nobody has been anywhere near it. Yeah. And it's just like you're sitting back and you're trying to think about those good old days and like Will said, tell people about, man, if you would have been around during this time, if you would have seen what we went through, it's great. And then the other part is that a lot of what we've had to deal with is it's been kind of out in the open. You know what I mean? If a team goes to another city or something like that, okay, that's they have to deal with those type of things. But we've had to deal with an owner that has been outright trying to sabotage and do all this crazy stuff. You know what I mean? We're changing the names, trying to figure out who we are. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, none of that would matter if we were winning.
Yeah.
But we weren't winning. And it was ugly. Yeah. All the different quarterbacks, all the stuff that went on. And I mean, year after year, one of the reasons why Will and I started to do the show is because it's therapy. Let's be very honest. We need
sure.
We needed to be able to talk about that. It definitely has not been easy. It's been very, very frustrating. I may or may not look at the VHS tape of the 1988 Super Bowl once or twice a week. I don't know, but I'm just saying it is tough. It is tough because you wonder, you often think, is that going to be it? Like we all talk about, we never want to see a Cowboy Super Bowl, but at the same time, Washington hasn't been in the Super Bowl since around that time. The Giants have been to 2. You guys have been to 2. You know what I mean? Washington and Dallas haven't been to something since the early to mid 90s. And it's like, will we ever see that again? Was the only championship in Washington going to be a Redskins championship?
Right.
And, so it's a wait and see, but it's frustrating.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys' feedback on that because that's something from someone on the outside. Like, you almost hurt for, the fan base because you hear like, oh, well, now they're being sued because it's the Commanders and they might have to not be the Commanders. And it's like, I mean, what the hell? Like, you would think they'd pay people millions of dollars to let's
trademark
do this. Let's, you would think there would be I don't know, but like you said, it's a owner trying to sabotage. Like, it's just absolutely crazy. I was nervous whenever there was talks of Steve Bezos or whatever coming in and potentially. I was like, oh god, it's about to be the freaking Washington Prime Skins,
right?
So
Bezos and Jay-Z. They were partnering with Jay-Z.
Oh, dude, I was like, this is gonna be It's gonna be like freaking Prime over here. You guys gonna be Colorado 2.0. So, but I appreciate you guys sharing that, man. And like I said, if there had to be another team that wasn't us in the East that was represented, I would say, well, I would like to see Washington there before the Giants.
Nicest Eagles fan I've ever met.
I got to tell you, man. I got to tell you, I kind of hated Philly Green before he came on, but I might put some on, man. I might get a Randall Cunningham jersey or something with Reggie White or something.
And so I'll tell you this,
it's hard not to love the Kelly Green, boys. It's hard not to love the Kelly Green.
Oh, yeah.
During the Eagles run last year, Jeremy was the only one that I would say nice things to about the Eagles. I'd be like, man, what a butt whooping that, last week. I love the way Jalen's playing, because I would say nice things to him. Now, I got a couple other Eagles fans that I would tell him to shove it. But for Jeremy, I'd at least be like, hey, man, I'm pulled. They played well out there because nicest Eagles fan I've ever met.
Hey, look, at the end of the day, I was always through the years an Eagles guy. I never absolutely always hated Dallas.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes. Listen, I always you gotta hear me from this side. I always hated Dallas, and my father's from New York, so all my brothers are Giants fans. My older brother has a Giants, like a Ford F-150, and on the back bumper, it is a picture of Lawrence Taylor the moment before he breaks Joe Theismann's leg. So these are the things that I grew up with. Yeah. So it was always Deadskins. It was always watch the crap. So I've always looked at the Eagles, and secretly, I'll say it on here. I wanted to get that Randall Cunningham, Rambling Randall, man. I mean, I wanted to get that Reggie White, the Wes Hopkins. Like, I love.
Hey, listen, if you'll wear it on your next show, I will send you some Eagles swag.
Not allowed.
You're gonna rock it.
You should veto it. He vetoed it. I can't. You said it. I'll take a picture. Yeah. As long as it's under lock,
I tell you what, this has been great. You see, when you're so nice, it's like, it's like actions speak louder than words.
Yep.
Not only do you do that in your life with your faith, but you also do that with your football team. Look at this. Right. We're having some. We're gonna go do a Kelly Green bathtub full of little dunk here. You're gonna come up out and you're gonna be ready to roll. You're gonna be ready to win a Super Bowl.
Don't go that far.
I'm never invited on this show again. Come on, man.
Just like that,
man. I'm just playing, guys. Well, I hope you have a wonderful evening. I'll let you guys finish it off, man. But it's been so much fun hanging out with you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us. October 29th is the rematch. So get the Wednesday before, get ready for Jeremy Powers Part 2.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Hey, look, bye, guys. Look, also, I gotta talk to you. I gotta invite you, man. I see you got that Garnett. Will has jumped on. We have another show called Let's Talk College Football.
Okay.
My guy Alex Loosemore. We've been talking a lot of stuff, especially in that SEC. We were all on pins and needles when y'all were playing Georgia. I wasn't trying to mess with Will because I was like, I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it. You know what I mean? But hey, you are definitely more than welcome to come on there and talk. Spencer.
Hey, I would love
South
to.
Carolina.
Hey, Spencer Rattler, he's NFL stock along with Legette's.
Yeah.
Their NFL stock is just if people want to talk smack about Spencer Rattler right now, they are insane.
Yes,
insane because with such a weak offensive line and I'm telling you, I think he is being absolutely underappreciated for what he's doing right now. And I'm telling you that's awesome that you guys have that going on, and I'll definitely look to do that and look to join you guys and have some fun. I'm never going to turn down some football fun.
There's a reason why I'm not getting too mad when Sam Howell struggles with sacks.
Wow.
Right here. Go get Spencer Rattler next year. We'll just trade him in for somebody else.
Dude, there we go.
Carolina's about to be QBU. All right, let's go.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Man, you were awesome.
Hey, later, guys.
Appreciate
it, guys.
Man.
Have a good one.
You too. Yeah, buddy. Yo, shout out to Jeremy Powers hopping on here talking Philly. Will, hey, you haven't steered me wrong. You have not lied to me. He was the nicest Eagles fan I have ever met in my life. All right, I want to go out and have dinner with this guy, man. This guy's a winner, man. I like him. Yep. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of the show. We are done. What do you say? Oh. Will Kramer, you know you're gonna say trick, man.
I don't know if I can handle it.
Let's go. Hey, we're done. We are gonna let you guys go. Philly versus Washington this weekend. Definitely stay tuned for that. You're gonna want to see it. We'll see what happens. We know what happened earlier last year, but this is gonna be hopefully a bounce back game, or it's gonna be one of those games where if Sam has another poor performance, you're gonna start getting people, especially outside of Washington, asking those questions like, do we need to start looking at Jacoby Brissett? So let's see what happens. Hopefully, we will be able to put up a good fight. Let's see what's going on, man. But before we go, yesterday was my 40th birthday, ladies and gentlemen, and I just wanted to shout out all the people on Facebook, in person, YouTube, wherever that reached out to me and wished me a happy 40th birthday. I will say my back reminded me quite early that I was 40. It got tight real quick, and then one day it kind of just went out. So I have some icy hot, a couple layers of the icy hot on my back. So definitely with that. But listen, wanted to shout out all of you and say thank you. But I got to shout out two people in particular, my girl and my guy, this guy right over here. You know, when you have close friends and you have people that care for you and they appreciate you, they go out and do things that even you couldn't even imagine. And I actually got a birthday wish from my favorite football player of all time. So check this out, and we will see y'all next time.
Hey, son, surprise you, huh? You still don't know who it is, son? Come on, man. Doug Williams, Super Bowl 22, MVP. You remember? Oh, you wasn't old enough to remember? Yes, you were. Somebody had to tell you. Come on. Anyway, I'm ready. Forget about it, son. I'm here to tell you, happy birthday, man. 40. Oh, Lordy, guess who's 40? Sean is 40. Yeah, what you gonna be doing, Sean? Hanging out in Chicago with Cat, podcast crew, and friends? Man, what a great way to celebrate your 40th birthday. You're gonna have a ball. I know you are. That's right. And I understand this too. This is crazy. I understand this. Your mom, who's the number one fan, said you waited until a Monday night football to come into this world. Look at that. She was so upset it was Monday night, but you know what? She loved the fact that you made it here. And that's the most important thing. You know, I know you do podcasts, football, Washington, football weekly, and director of a lot of shows, man. You got a lot of things going on. But today is your birthday. And that's the most important thing. Celebrate this birthday, man, that the good Lord has given to you. And you came in on the Monday that your mama is giving to you. That's the good thing about it. That's right. Well, let me say this, too. Let me sing you a short version of Happy Birthday. Is that all right with you, Sean? All right, let's go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sean. Happy birthday to you. That's my version of it. But let me say this. I want to thank Catherine Hughes, Miss Catherine Hughes, um, for giving me this opportunity to wish you a happy birthday, Sean. Thank you, Catherine. And I hope you have many more, man. I hope the good Lord bless you. Hey, have fun in Chicago, man, and keep rooting for those Commanders. All right? Appreciate you, man. God bless you.
Man, oh man, never in my life. You don't understand how shocked I was. And it's funny because I messaged you at like 3 a.m. Well, we had just gotten back. And she said, I just couldn't wait. And she said, showed it to me. And I looked and I knew it was immediately. And I watched the first time just totally like, what? So I redid it, rewatched it, and I rewatched it, and I rewatched it like 3 or 4 times. And then I went to the other room and rewatched it. And then obviously you got all the waterworks that you heard. But I watched it. But for those of you that don't know, ladies and gentlemen, January 31st, 1988, Doug Williams became the first African-American quarterback to start a Super Bowl and to win a Super Bowl with capped off with a 35.18 play second quarter that will go down in history as probably one of the most spectacular quarters, especially Super Bowl history, if not NFL history. But what he did for me at that point, and it wasn't even necessarily at that time, but it was out throughout my life, is what Barack Obama did for a lot of African Americans. It gave you that belief. You know, before that time, African Americans were deemed, you know, not as capable of being able to play quarterback because of mental capacity, things of that nature. We don't need to go down that road. But what he did is he proved that it's the best player, the best person, the best character, the things that he had to go through and the things that he put up with and dealt with all the way through his career, much less in Washington. He was a backup that year. He didn't even start. Gibbs made the decision going into the first playoff game against the Bears. And there's 2 great drives against the Bears and then the punt return from Darrell Green, 2 great drives against Minnesota. And Darrell Green, again, stops it on the last play of the game. And we're in the Super Bowl against John Elway, who everybody, even Al Davis, Dan Dierdorf, and Frank Gifford, all of them said, hey, Elway's the guy here. You know, shout out to Washington, what they've been able to do. But Elway, everybody was going the other way, and he did the most amazing thing. And just from that moment on, me and my mom stayed to watch that game. From that moment on, he has always been my heart. So to see that, it means more than you could ever know. I told that to Kat, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. That I thank you. I thank you guys, you and Kat, man. For my birthday, that did it.
Yeah.
Everything we did, that did it. And it was beautiful. Johnny said Green owned Elway in that game. Green, Barry Wilburn, Scott Davis. I can go through that roster. I love that roster. But look, ladies and gentlemen, we have got to get out of here. I already have Kat texting me, telling her to bring her a Twix bar. So you already know.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I was like, what is that?
I'm like, wait a minute, really? You're going to do it on the show, Kat? Really, Kat? You know, so, hey, we are going to go. We want to send a special shout out to Jeremy Powers, man, who came in here and absolutely, tore down. I thought he did an amazing job talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, and he talked about it in a way that I actually want to, like, kind of watch them now. You know what I mean? And actually kind of tune in. And we will do that this weekend. So, for my guy, Other side, Will Kramer, South Carolina's finest. You know who it is, Mr. Finally 40, Sean Spencer. We will see y'all next time. Y'all take care of yourselves. Peace. Oh, actually, wait, one more thing real quick. From that Monday game, a couple people from Let's Talk Football community were there. Friend of the show,
Yes.
Ash Swinton, David Wright. Definitely, I wouldn't say that they enjoyed it, but they were there. So shout out to them. And on that note, we'll go ahead and head out of here. Hey, you guys have a good rest of your week.
Stand up, left hand up. Who are we?